What it is, guys, it's your boy Ansel with an episode of Alanizing, and today we got Super Bowl 59. Okay, I know this episode's been kind of delayed for a few days or a week. I've just been busy, okay, trying to get my thoughts together for y'all, and it's been a busy week anyway, so the combination of the both has delayed the episode, but we're going to get into that, okay? We're going to get into the outcomes of the Super Bowl, okay? How they affected in and out of the game. Legacies were on the line, bro. Legacies have been affected, so we're going to get into that. We're going to get into Super Bowl halftime, what I usually have no thoughts about, but this time I do. We're going to get into my annual accolades, awards review, see what's going on there, and compare and contrast, and we're going to get into recent news that's been out this week in the NFL. But let's start off with Super Bowl 59, as the Philadelphia Eagles won 40-22 in New Orleans as they claimed their second Super Bowl in their history. They beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Forgot out of that. Beat the Kansas City Chiefs. But I did not expect to go the way that it went. Like, I did say the Eagles needed to blow out the Chiefs. Like, they needed to annihilate them, which they did. But I said they needed to do that. But I actually didn't expect them to do it, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just said they needed to do that to win, but I didn't actually expect them to do it, and they did it, all right? Credit to them. I think KC's luck also just ran out, and that's what happened. But we're gonna get into it, starting with the biggest reason why Philadelphia won, and that was because of their number one defense, led by defensive coordinator Vic Fangio. So by the numbers, right, the Philly defense had 6 sacks, 11 QB hits, 25 pressures, 4 passes defended, 2 picks, and 1 forced fumble. That Philly defensive line is the main reason they won this game, okay? Jalen Carter, Josh Sweat, who had 2.5 sacks, Milton Williams, who had 2 sacks, Jordan Davis had 1 sack, Nolan Smith was over the field. They obliterated this Chiefs O-line. Just being on Mahomes, he had no time. It was insane to watch as a neutral, right? They didn't blitz. Not once throughout the whole game. They didn't blitz once. And it was just a 4-man rush. And I'm going to give credit to myself because I have to. I said for Philly to win this game, their D-line had to replicate what the Bucs did to the Chiefs in Super Bowl 55. And not only did they replicate that, they topped it. So I got to give him props. Vic, with his 4-man rush being so dominant, they just had to run a cover 2 shot the whole time with the cornerbacks going zone. So it turned into a cover 4 or quarters coverage with Slay, Mitchell, Dijon, and Maddox. And had them boys locked up, the Chiefs receivers locked up until garbage time. But it was garbage time, It was until then. They took off all their starters, the Eagles did. So it was 1 pick 6 for Cooper DeJean. I always call him DeJean. Cooper DeJean had 1 pick 6. Bond had an interception, and it was a forced fumble for Williams. They didn't let the Chiefs get into their territory until the end of the 3rd quarter. Damn. It might go down as one of the greatest defensive performances in Super Bowl history, along with the Seahawks one, the Legion of Boom 2013 versus the Broncos. That's going to be up there, man. It was one of the most crazy performances we've ever seen. So props to the Philly defense. Main reason they won the Super Bowl. The Kansas City offense. Mahomes was 21-32, 257 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 11.4 QBR, a 95.4 passer rating, right? In his defense, his O-line was dog shit. Bro, I'm literally saying the defensive line just obliterated them. They were bad. Joe Tooney was getting manhandled outside in the left side. Creed in the inside, Creed Humphrey, he was getting smoked in the inside. And, Jawan Taylor, I've never liked the guy. He was getting killed. He was getting killed by everybody. So it was just, everybody was getting killed in the O-line. He had no time to even set his feet. As soon as the ball snaps, some of the Eagles players were already in his face. And we know this for a fact. We know this from history. If your QB doesn't have time or protection, the offense is going to fail. 100%. And it did. And even when he had some semblance of time, when the game was like still early, he was unsettled. He was rushing throws because he felt the pressure. When there was none, there wasn't any pressure, he started to see ghosts. Like, he's starting to feel like, hey, there's someone near me. I know someone's near me. And no one is. So he started to force things. Because now we're down 17-0. Then it becomes 24-0. And then it's 34-0. And all you can do is throw players. All you can do is throw prayers. That's all you can do. Just throw these prayers. And that's what happened on his picks and the forced fumble. He did have 3 touchdowns, but it was after 34-0 in garbage time. Like I was saying, the Eagles literally took out their starters after 40-6. After 40-6 is when they took out their starters. Like, damn, bro. It was bad. It was bad. It was bad. And KC didn't run the ball at all. Excluding Mahomes running for his life. They ran 7 times for 24 yards. They were because they were behind, So running basically just wasted time and plays. But like Shannon Sharp was saying, they should have run it probably a few times just to slow down the pass rush to keep them honest. But they were down by 30 points. So he and Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid were like, "Fuck that, bro. We're not doing that." So I understand from that perspective of the Kansas City Chiefs. Xavier Worthy, he had 8 catches, 157 yards. 2 touchdowns, was in garbo time, like I said, but he got them, so that's cool. Travis Kelce had 4 catches, 39 yards. Did not play well, but when your QB has no time, you're never getting the ball. So, it was bad, bro. It was bad for them. Mahomes, a lot of people, I think it's a split because, yes, like I was saying, the offensive line is garbage. But Mahomes, like I was saying, he's forced a lot of throws. Those 2 interceptions were his fault. Yes, he's being pressured, but the one to Cooper DeJean, that's across his body. I don't even know what he's looking at. Like, bro, he should probably just threw it out of bounds. But, it's what happens when you have no time. For the Philly offense, Super Bowl MVP Jalen Hurts threw for 17-22, 221 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 75.4 QBR, 119.7 passer rating. And rushing, he went for 11 carries, 72 yards, 1 touchdown. Tush push. I think with this performance, Jalen puts himself in the top 5 QB discussion right now. And you probably put him at 3 because, yes, he didn't pass, or he doesn't pass for like 300, 400 yards all the time, but especially in the Super Bowl. But he played masterfully. That's what he did. He played with high IQ. The Kansas City defense, right? They usually lined up in this game. They usually lined up in a cover 2 or a cover 1 with sticky man coverage. And one-on-one coverage, their corners versus their receivers, right? And on the line, they're that close to their face and basically said, we are bringing in guys to stop Saquon. That's what Spagnuolo is basically saying. We're bringing in guys to stop Saquon, and we are daring you, Jalen Hurts. We're daring you to pass the ball, to sit back and pass the ball. And Jalen Hurts basically said, watch this, and completed dimes to A.J. Brown, to Devontae Smith. Like, damn, man, you disrespected Jalen, and he went out there and he did what he needed to do. And when they had their backs turned, he just ran with the ball. When it was man coverage and they're up the field, he just tucked it in, ran with the ball, got some yardage. Masterful, high IQ. And that's why Jalen won Super Bowl MVP. Saquon Barkley, he had 25 carries, 57 yards. The Kansas City defense did pretty well in stopping the run, but props to Sirianni and who else? And Sirianni and Kellen Moore. They were keep giving the ball to Saquon, keep running the ball to keep Kansas City on their toes, and that opened a lot of play action for Jalen Hurts to exploit. Devontae Smith had 4 catches, 69 yards, and that one bomb touchdown. That long dart from Hurts to make it 34-0. A.J. Brown had 3 catches, 43 yards, 1 touchdown. A lot of one-on-one, like I was saying, with McDuffie, and A.J. won a lot of those duels. The positives from the Chiefs defense is that they shut down Saquon, keep him to 57 yards, 2.3 yards per carry, and that was pretty much it. The Eagles went up and down the field on them. They went. I'm surprised though, because the Spagnuolo defense got shredded like that. Like I was saying, they were in cover 2 a lot, deep high safety with sticky one-on-one man coverage to have guys in the box for Saquon, and hoping that Hurts wouldn't throw the ball as good, and that McDuffie and Watson would be straps. But he ate them up. Jalen Hurts ate them up, and that's more credit to Jalen, to be honest. They did blitz a few times, the Chiefs defense did. I think that's where they got their 2 sacks from, and the Cook interception, because, it forced Jalen to throw it quickly. But the Eagles' O-line pretty much figured out the blitz, and they blocked it well. Moral of the story, though, was that I think like the downfall of the Chiefs was that they try to over-contain Saquon a lot. They just over-planned him a lot. They over-planned versus the run, and the pass was used, and they beat him. But, I get that's more credit to Jalen Hurts, because that's what you're supposed to do. That's what the Chiefs were supposed to do. They're supposed to protect Saquon, because they're like, Saquon's not beating us. So the only guy who's going to beat us is Jalen. We don't respect his passing ability. And, maybe not that they don't respect his passing ability, but they're like, his passing ability is not as good as Saquon's running ability. So if we lose to that, so be it. And they did. Jalen Hurts proved them and everybody else who doubted the guy wrong. I was iffy on him. I seen him in Super Bowl 57 throw for 300 yards. So I was like, he could do it. And then just adding Saquon's going to open up even more things. So, and it did. So overall, right, Philly's defense dominated, and Jalen Hurts shows that his IQ, and that's why they won. Now, low-key, I think Super Bowl MVP should be to the Philly defense, but I get it. You can't give the award to a whole unit. And even if you didn't give it to a whole unit, who would you choose of the defenders? That would be pretty hard, but personally, I would have chosen Josh Sweat. He had 2.5 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 3 QB hits, multiple pressures, 6 total tackles. So I would have chose him, and I think he literally came out the other day and said he should have won it, which is, kind of weird. Like, you shouldn't really say that as the guy, but, he probably should have won anyways, though, I guess. But Hurts was the best player on offense, so why not? His passes is what won him the game, so I'm not mad at it that he won. It's just mostly a quarterback award now, to be honest, but whatever. Not mad that Jalen Hurts won. Outcomes of the game. Sirianni, Coach Nick Sirianni, he's not a big dumb dipshit like people always trying to call him. He actually knows how to coach, knows how to pick coaches. Hella media people or fans, I don't know, like neutral NFL fans or don't Philly fan base, they didn't like him in general. And I think it's just because he's a different type of coach, like for sure. He runs things differently, like the way he says stuff, how when his press conference, they were making fun of him for saying, we're going to spread the seeds and we're going to watch them grow. We want dogs. And same thing with Dan Campbell when he came out with his introductory press conference. He was talking about, we're going to get we're going to bite kneecaps. And, people find this weird, but these are the coaches that actually, are good at coaching. They're not just, it's not regular coach speed. It's actually, we're going to do this. And it might sound weird, but I guess it actually works with players because the players love them. So, who cares, bro? When you win, who cares? He has a Super Bowl. I'm happy for the Bama boys, bro. There's a lot of Alabama dudes on the team, on the Eagles team. You got Dickerson, you got Ricks, you got Young, you got Cameron Ladu. But the main guys, Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith, they are the first QB wide receiver duo to win a national championship and Super Bowl together. That's pretty lit. I think Jalen is top 5 now, and you could put him at Oh, yeah, I was saying you put him at top 3 with Mahomes. Actually, I think Mahomes is still number 1. You can put him in the top 3 discussion for quarterbacks. I still got Mahomes 1, Lamar 2, and then you can have him above Burrow and Josh, or you can have him around there. I don't know. Very similar. Burrow has the same meaningful accolades as Jalen. Like, nothing. You know, they don't have MVPs or anything. But now Jalen has a Super Bowl MVP and a Super Bowl over Joe Burrow. And I think Joe Burrow has like 1 All-Pro or 2, or maybe he doesn't have any. I don't need to check. I need to check that. And was it? And then for Josh Allen, he has an MVP but no Super Bowl, not even a Super Bowl appearance. So I mean, you bring that into it. Bring the stat. You can bring the stats argument. Say these guys have better numbers. Well, I mean, Josh Allen and Joe Burrow. You could say these guys have better numbers than Saquon, than Jalen, and could be like, oh, and he has like that because he has Saquon, but he has Super Bowl appearance without Saquon, so it's a debate for sure, and I mean, I'd have him at 3 right now. I'd have him at 3 for those Super Bowl MVP and Super Bowl, and I know people will be like, well, how do you not have that for for Lamar? Lamar has been better consistently throughout, and he has the 2 MVPs. Like, bro, Lamar has the 2 MVPs, bro. He just needs that Super Bowl, and he'd be in the conversation with Mahomes for 100%. But I think the 2 accolades put him above Jalen Hurts. Now, you could argue and be like, well, see, Jalen's more, Jalen is more clutch in these scenarios, and he's going to get on a Super Bowl. He's performed well. Like, in these playoff games, he's performed better than Lamar, and I could give you, like, yes, that's true. That's true. You could say that. But I don't know. I'd rather have Lamar, to be honest. And I think those 2 MVPs way more. I mean, not way more than a Super Bowl. But, like, it's just, I don't know. Like, individually, I'd rather have Lamar. I'd just rather have Lamar. So, I'm going with Lamar above Jalen Hurts and putting Jalen Hurts at 3. But continuing, I'm also happy for Saquon. After he got dumped by the Giants, he's now in the discussion for the greatest free agents signings with Reggie White, Dion, Tom Brady, etc. But he's a major part in them winning a Super Bowl this year. Joe Schroen, the guy, the Giants GM who let this dude go, is still the Giants GM, by the way. Like, bruh. He's still the GM, man. That's crazy, bro. They disrespected Saquon, and he goes to your rival when he wins the Super Bowl, bro. I mean, that must sting as a Giants fan. That must sting. And that must sting as John Mara, the owner, bro. Like, bro, he for sure not sleeping. 100%. Not sleeping, like he said in Hard Knocks. So I feel bad. I mean, I feel great for Saquon. You got to let go, and now he won a championship. Shout out to Howie Roseman. And I'm also happy for my cousin, Mauricio. Shout out B Rose 47. Long life Eagles fan. Don't like the rest of the Philly fans, but he's cool. So happy for him to win the 2 Super Bowls that he's seen. But Kansas City, I think they're still a dynasty. Okay, still got their back-to-back Super Bowls. Won 3 of their last 5. To me, to be a dynasty, you have to at least win a back-to-back, right? Gotta be a back-to-back and have had like at least 3 below a 5-year span. And they've obviously done that. I know they wanted that 3-peat, and they could have put them over for real. Could have put them as the best dynasty ever. And like maybe even, now I'll say in NFL history, it must sting, this one, bro. It must sting. Maybe it probably hurts more in Super Bowl 55. You're so close to getting that 3-peat, and you get blown out. Not just blown out. So damn, that must sting. So, and that's why Patrick Mahomes, not my GOAT. Tom Brady would never let his team get blown out in the Super Bowl Not once, but twice. Twice. He would never let that happen. Tom Brady would never let that happen. So no, sir, not the GOAT. Rankings wise, I think they stayed the same. In my opinion, Mahomes is still at 3. So my top 5 greatest quarterbacks of all time stands at number 5, Aaron Rodgers. Number 4, Peyton Manning. Number 3, Patrick Mahomes. Number 2, Joe Montana. And number 1, Tom Brady. That's the top 5. Only top 5 you should have of greatest quarterbacks ever. And then Travis Kelce stays behind Gronk as the GOAT tight end. I think Gronk has 4 championships. Or if I remember correctly, he won the 2014 one with Patriots. He got injured for the 2016 season, but he was on the team. And then he got the 2018 one versus the Rams. And then he won the Buccaneers. So, yeah, that's 4. 4 over 3. And not even just the Super Bowls. Because Travis Kelce has better stats than Gronk, I believe. But, listen, all-around tight end. Let's start off with what Travis Kelce is better at than Gronk. He's a better route runner. He's a better pass catcher, for sure. Travis Kelce is just a big wide receiver. That's basically what he is. But all-around tight end, Gronk. Gronk's better all-around tight end because Travis Kelce is, I'm saying, he's a better pass catcher, route runner than Gronk. But Gronk can still pass catch. Not as great route running because he's a big guy, but he can still pass catch. He's a little bit below Travis Kelce. But when it comes to blocking, when it comes to studying that physicality, Gronk's way better than Travis Kelce. Bro, as we see in the Super Bowl, Travis Kelce cannot block anything. He's not a good blocker. He just doesn't block well. And Gronk, Gronk was a beast at blocking. Because look at him, bro. He was 6'6", 240 pounds or something, bro. He was huge. So I think all around, Gronk's just a better tight end, and that's why he's my GOAT tight end. And then Andy Reid is still below Bill Belichick as one of the greatest head coaches of all time, which is not bad at all, bro. Bill Belichick, So it's not a bad thing for Coach Reid. The Kendrick Lamar halftime show. Okay, I've never talked about a halftime show in my Super Bowl episodes ever. Because I usually don't care. I usually don't care about them. Yes, I like the artists that have been on there. I like The Weeknd, don't get me wrong. He's cool. Usher was cool as well. But, and the Shakira and Jennifer Lopez one was cool. The Dre one. Yeah, I'm surprised I actually never talked about the Dre and Snoop Dogg one. I don't know why I didn't talk about them. Because I like them a lot. I like Dr. Dre and Snoop. But I don't know why I didn't talk about it, but I never talk about him because it's just mostly about football. But this is Kendrick. Okay, Kendrick performed at the halftime show, and Kendrick is my guy. One of my favorite artists of all time. In my opinion, he's the greatest rapper of all time. Even before the Drake beef, where all of a sudden people think that Kendrick came out of nowhere. No, bro. Kendrick been here. I listened to him since Good Kid, Mad City, so I got some credibility there. But anyways, a lot of chatter. People saying it was boring, and that it was the worst halftime show ever. And other people were saying it's the best, and it's a 10 out of 10. And to be honest, bro, it was neither. Okay? It was not the worst, and it was not the best. It was a 7 out of 8. 7 out of 8. 7 or 8. I'll say an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. Halftime show, great songs. He didn't pick a lot from Good Kid, Mad City or Mr. Around, the Big Steppers, but it's because I think it's the Super Bowl and it's meant for everybody, not for his diehard fans. So he's obviously going to pick more recent songs. He's going to have a mixture of recent songs from the GNX album, which is a more recent album, and then obviously he's going to have ones that are really popular this last year, which was Euphoria and Not Like Us, obviously. And then he went back to some really popular ones, which was Humble, and that was in the album Down. So it made sense, the song choices he had. He's not going to pick a song from Good Kid, Mad City. He's not going to out here play Hood Politics from the To Pimp a Butterfly album, or he's not going to play The Art of Peer Pressure, which is from the Good Kid, Mad City album, because those songs are old now, and a lot of people who don't listen to him wouldn't even know what those songs are. Okay, so that's why it's not for the. It wasn't for the diehard fans, bro. It was just for the neutral fans who were just tuning in or whatever, right? That's why. I think that's why it was good songs. People were saying he didn't choose this song, blah blah blah. Like, bro, that's what it was for. Okay, he did play "Not Like Us," which was crazy. People were saying he wasn't gonna play that because of blah blah blah. Because the Drake lawsuits, whatever. And he had Serena Williams crip walking out there like, bruh, Drake, no, bro, like he got his ex out there singing, dancing, like, my gosh. And there's a lot of criticism for Serena Williams about that because her sister supposedly was Sean and getting killed, and Sean killed by a crip, and she was crip walking and whatever. And then Stephen A had criticism for her saying, like, that's my wife. Like, I think that's hobo now, bro. Like, it's not even a big deal. She wasn't even that part of the show. It was just a part of it. She wasn't the whole thing. So, like, bro, like, I don't know why it's such a big discussion. Like, she was just a detail of it, but it was a good detail because, bro, he got roasted. Like, your ex is there, bro? Drake, your ex was in there, like, crazy, but whatever. But then continuing on, people are making this tuning into a political thing. And, like, I mean, I guess, yes, it is a political thing, the way Kendrick was saying about Uncle Sam and then the controller, and I get it, right? So I guess he maybe turned into a political thing. But, like, the rest of the people, I'm saying, is, like, they're saying, like, or, like, the generations that are off, people saying, like, oh, my Republican, like, I remember this TikTok saying my Republican parents listened to it, and they hated it. So, like, I guess they're saying all the Democrats loved the song, or I don't know. Like, I don't know why they turned into that political thing. So we'll say, actually, let me change that. I don't think Kendrick's show was a political thing. I think it was a social thing. It was more of a social thing. That's what I'm going to go with. Social thing. And, like, because the political thing doesn't make sense, bro. Like, I'm a Republican myself, and I just told y'all Kendrick's my guy. I love Kendrick. So, like, the political parties doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what that is, bro. They might have different views, I guess, but that doesn't really matter when it comes to liking music or not. And when it comes to, like, hating the halftime show, it was mostly Drake lovers and, I guess, white people who don't listen to rap, who don't like rap, or who don't like Kendrick was saying that it was boring, which I could expect, but it wasn't the best either. Like I was saying, had some social messages, which I ain't gonna lie, I got to see some of it again more because I only got the Uncle Sam part and the political controller and stuff like that. But I was mostly watching it as a concert, bro. I was watching it as Drake. I mean, as well as Kendrick singing. So I was like, yeah, Kendrick. So, I mean, the rest of it was whatever. And it was just causing buzz on social media, which, whatever, bro. Like, it doesn't matter. But I think people are just overreacting, saying it was the worst, it was the best. It was none of those. It was a good one. That's what it was. It was just a good halftime show. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. Now let's get on to the awards that were presented this year. Okay, so I'm going to get the award name, obviously, who I predicted, and who won. Right? So this year, remember I said the Super Bowl winners was going to be the Niners? Yeah, that didn't go out well. We didn't make the playoffs. Sad say. I'm not going to talk about the whole thing because it depresses me. So no, we didn't make it to the Super Bowl. The Eagles did. And for the AFC, I said the Ravens were going to go to the Super Bowl. Obviously, they didn't. They failed. They lost to the Bills in the divisional round. And the Chiefs, obviously, made it to the Super Bowl. MVP, right? I said Joe Burrow. Joe had a good season, like I was saying, but his team was crap, so they didn't make it all the way. They had like a almost 500 record or close to 500 record, so they didn't make it. And obviously, you're not going to win the MVP like that. But who did win the MVP was Josh Allen, and that's his first one in his history. That's the first time he's ever won it ever. And I mean, there's some controversy. It was mostly between him and Lamar. And to be honest, I would have picked Lamar. I think Lamar had the better season. I think Lamar had his best season so far as a pro. He had 41 touchdowns. 41 touchdowns. And 4 interceptions, bro. Like, that was the second best, only down to Joe Burrow. And Lamar last year only had 23 and like 7 interceptions, and he won the MVP. So I'm surprised why he didn't win the MVP this year, but I guess the voters are going off the same logic that went on last year, which I don't agree with at all, but whatever. I'm not saying Josh doesn't deserve it because he had a good season. Like, bro, like, it's not like he didn't have one at all. He had a good season. He obviously was the Bills' best player, and I guess that's what they're leaning on. They're leaning on he was the Bills' best player. If they don't have him, the Bills suck, which is true, but you could say the same thing with Lamar. Like, if Lamar is not on the Ravens, they're not as good as they are. Like, yes, you could say, oh, Derrick Henry, but a running back is not leading your team to the championship. Like, a running back's not going to lead your team to 12 wins, bro. Like, it's not going to do that. This isn't the 1980s, bro. Like, Lamar helps Derrick as much, too, because now you're scared of Lamar's RPO game, so you're like, is he going to run? The read option that Lamar runs, you're like, the defenses are looking at, is he going to run? Is Derrick going to run? Who the hell is going to run? So they both help. It's simultaneously helping each other out. So, bro, like, Lamar, in my opinion, should have won the MVP. But it's okay, Josh winning, bro. People saying it's the DEI award, or it's a pity award, which is fine. Like, oh, okay, I guess. But I'm not mad that he won it. I just would have, if I had a vote, I would have picked Lamar to be third. That was just crazy, but is what it is. Offensive Player of the Year, I said Amon-Ra St. Brown, and he could have, but it just to compare to other seasons guys were having, he wasn't gonna win. Especially and then how Jamar Chase won the triple crown. He didn't even get a vote for Offensive Player of the Year, bro. I think so. Yeah, he wasn't gonna win. So Amon-Ra wasn't gonna win, but who did win was Saquon Barkley, who almost had the record for rushing yards in a single season. Almost had it, but he did finish at 2,005 yards. So he's ranks top 8. I think he's the 8th running back to do it, if I want to say. Now, looking at it now, the list, I got the list right here. He's actually the 9th running back to do it. But he finishes with 2,005 yards, which is the 8th most in NFL history. I mean, if he played that last game, which is against the Giants, I think, he probably would have had like another 100-something yards, and he probably would have passed Eric Dickerson's 2,104, but they rested him. And they rested him with the intention to win the Super Bowl, and they did, so in the long run, it doesn't even matter. But imagine if he had the record and the Super Bowl. That's the greatest running back. That's the greatest season a running back has ever had. So obviously Saquon won, and Saquon now probably writes himself in history as one of the greatest running backs ever. So shout out to Saquon. Obviously, well deserved. He could have won the MVP, low-key. He probably would have won the MVP in my prediction, like I was saying, because last year I was saying Christian McCaffrey should have won MVP. And with the same logic, probably could have put Saquon as the MVP as well. So, I don't know. But deserving Offensive Player of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year was Patrick Surtain, which is, I mean, obviously he was locking down people. He didn't have much interceptions, but he was locking people down. And if you see the film, Patrick Surtain is the best. He's one of the best corners, or the best corner, actually. The best corner in the NFL. So it's deserving for Defensive Player of the Year. I had Max Crosby, but he's on the Raiders, and they suck. So obviously he wasn't going to get it. Offensive Rookie of the Year, I had Marvin Harrison Jr., which was a possibility, but he's on the Cardinals, and that just didn't really work out well. Jaden Daniels won, and that's obviously deserved. He's probably had, I thought nobody could top C.J. Stroud's rookie season. Jaden Daniels did the season after, so that's crazy, and I think it's well-deserving. Jaden Daniels, we'll see what he's going to do, but he had the best rookie season, best quarterback rookie season ever. 25 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and he took them all the way to the NFC Championship game. And he beat the Lions in the process. The best team in the NFL, I thought. So, yeah, hands down, deserved. Defensive Rookie of the Year, I thought it was going to be Dallas Turner. He didn't play a lot with the Vikings, to be honest. That's why he didn't really win it. Jared Verse won it for the Rams, which was pretty deserving. You know, he had a few sacks, and the Rams D-line was underrated this year, so shout out to him. Comeback Player of the Year, I had A-Rod. Obviously, didn't work out, even though he didn't have as bad as terrible statistical season that people want to have it. They want to put that narrative on him. Like, yes, he didn't play great. to his standards he set before. But he was actually like, if you compare his numbers to Josh Allen's numbers, MVP season numbers, they're kind of similar. Let's look at them real quick, bro. Both of them had a completion percentage of 63%. Rodgers finished with more passing yards at 3,897, while Josh had 3,731. And then touchdowns, Aaron Rodgers had 28, Josh Allen had 28. And interceptions, Rodgers had 11, while Josh Allen had 6. So on stats-wise, you're like, what? Pretty similar. But, QBR, Josh Allen has like 70 and Rodgers has like a 40. So it's it's different there. That's just a different story. But that's what I'm saying. You can't rely just on stats. I've always made the argument. You can't just rely on stats, because you could say, how are you going to say Rodgers just had a horrible season and say Josh Allen is the best MVP season, has had his MVP season, and while they have the same stats? Like, that's what I'm saying. It's crazy. Let me rephrase that, actually, because I said that wrong. How are you going to say that Aaron Rodgers had a shit season and Josh Allen just won the MVP and they have similar stats? Like, you think that's just illogical? Like, how does that even make sense? But it's because stats, you can't just fool your argument full of stats. It's the supporting detail. It's not the whole argument. Not the whole argument. So, I get it. I get it. But that was just crazy that I was looking at. That was crazy. But shout out Rodgers. Which is, we're going to get more into him in a bit. But anyways, comeback player of the year, right? That Joe Burrow won it. Which, I forgot he got injured last year. But I guess he got injured. And then obviously this year he led the NFL in passing and in touchdowns. So that's why he won. He could have won the MVP. Like I was saying, but his team was trash. So he didn't win that. And he won comeback player of the year. Coach of the year had DeMeco Ryans, which is not a bad shout, but Texans kind of were up and down. They're inconsistent until like the end. They won a few games and made the playoffs, and they beat the Chargers. But then they lost to the Chiefs in the divisional round. So whatever. And then Kevin O'Connell, he won the Coach of the Year, which is cool, which is good. He's deserved, because the Vikings went 14-3, and he kind of revived Sam Darnold's career for most of it. In that second part of the season, he was kind of dying off, especially the last 3 games. In the playoff versus the Lions, he was kind of dying off, but he revived his career. He gave him a chance. He made Sam Darnold look like an MVP type caliber guy. So shout out Kevin O'Connell, bro. And then recent news. We'll get into the recent news. Like I was saying about Aaron Rodgers, Jets announced they will move in a different direction from Aaron Rodgers, looking to cut him after June 1st, where his $23.5 million cap drops to $14 million. Rumors is that Aaron Glenn, the new head coach, told him no more Pat McAfee shows, and you better come to mandatory camps. I guess that we're telling him, and I don't know if he said no or yes. What doesn't matter, because they're going to release him. They're going to let him go. And my overall thinking of this it goes back to the Josh Allen thing. Like, he didn't play horrible this season, but to average starters compared to other quarterbacks in the NFL. But compared to what he's done before, to the younger Aaron Rodgers, he downplayed it. Like, he did not play well considering the circumstances and how the Jets played. Like, it just wasn't up to his usual par. And maybe that's why they're moving on from the guy. But, and it just, like, the drama he causes, bro. Like, I'm saying, like, I love Aaron, bro. I don't think Pat McAfee show was a big deal at all, because he's done that in 2020. He did it when he was on the Packers. I think he first went on the Pat McAfee show like in 2020. That's when he won the MVP. 2021, he won the MVP. So back-to-back seasons, he was on the Pat McAfee show. He won the MVP. So the Pat McAfee has nothing to do with him playing bad or not. It just became a bigger deal these past 2 seasons because they haven't won. But like, that's not what's the issue. What probably is the issue is that he does skip mandatory mini camps, mandatory training camp, because he wants to go to Egypt, or he wants to go here. He wants to go to Costa Rica to get his ayahuasca, or he wants to go in the dark room and stay in there for hours thinking about contemplating his life And he says all these things, and you're like, bro, just play football. Which, I mean, to a certain extent, yes and no. It's not that he went to these things, because he could do whatever he wants. He's a grown man, whatever. He could do whatever he wants in the off season. But what's funny is that he's doing it during minicamp. Like, he went to Egypt during minicamp instead of training with his guys. So it doesn't look good in the optics, bro. Like, it just doesn't look well like that. So I understand with all the criticism with that. And we'll see where he goes. We'll see if he retires. Let's see if he doesn't. If he doesn't retire, I have no idea where he's going. He has to find a good situation. I have no idea where he's going. And then if he does retire, well, it's going to look bad. I feel like it'll cause a hit to his legacy, like of just how the way he went out. But I mean, for other people, but for me, I'd still have him top 5. He's still number 5 greatest quarterback of all time. Not taking away anything that he's done. But these last few seasons, it just wasn't well. It didn't look good. But we'll see. We'll see what he does. And then the other news is Debo requested a trade. I think he said after the players meeting, but it came out like the day in the morning of Super Bowl Sunday, which is weird. I don't know why it came out that specific day. Like, I guess, I don't know if it was because they were trying to get news on Super Bowl Sunday, or they were trying to make it fly under the radar because of Super Bowl Sunday. It could be either one. But he requested a trade, and the Niners granted him the permission to seek it. And as a Niner fan, it hasn't really sunk in yet, because I'm like, okay, he requested one. Doesn't mean he's going to get traded. Because it has to work out for both parties. Like, where does he even want to go? Or the Niners, how much? They're not going to just give him up for a 7th round pick. Like, bro, we're gonna have to give something back. It might not be 1st round picks, because especially the down year he had this year. So I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm still just hasn't sunk. I'm in the phase where it's like, it's too early to tell if it's a good or a bad thing. That's the stage that I believe we are in. There's pros to him getting traded. Like, the pro is that I think he's not falling off a cliff, but he just had a down year. And, I was never a big Debo fan, if I'm going to be honest with you. Like, as a straight out, true wide receiver, I was never a fan of him. He doesn't really go outside the numbers. Like, he's not that type of guy. He's not the type of guy you're like, bro, just throw me the ball, bro. I'm gonna get open somehow deep. Like, he just doesn't do that. That was Ayuk. That was Ayuk's role. That was not Debo's role. And in my opinion, I value those outside the numbers guys more than what Debo did. Now, don't get me wrong. Okay, Debo is valuable, as he was the guy he brought the physicality. He was the guy in the inside. He was very, I don't want to say expandable, it's a bad word. He's very versatile. We used him as a running back sometimes, or screens, and he would get up the field. Like, he was very big on yards after catch, which is valuable, right? But when the injuries when he started to do that, he would get a lot of injuries, and he would get knick-knack injuries. Remember 2023, he'd have that problem where he messed up his leg or something, and then he would have 3 games we were out, and that's 3 games we lost. So it's like iffy, bro, because he is valuable to the team. He brings that physicality, but he gets injured, he gets nicked. So I'm like, I don't know, bro. It's just pros and cons, but we'll see. We'll see what the Niners do with Debo. See what he does. And that was it for the episode, guys. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Now the NFL season's over. Look at all my NFL episodes, bro. And before to the Champions League episodes that are coming. Boxing episodes that are coming. I already said Champions League, right? Basketball season. I mean, the basketball season is really good. But, NBA playoffs, college basketball, March Madness, all that stuff coming. Be sure to look out. And we'll see y'all in the next episode.